Now that Nancy Pelosi's delaying tactics are finally over, Democratic House members finally walked the 2 articles of impeachment to the Senate side of the Capitol, unleashing a tsunami of media coverage that will start peaking when the political trial begins on Tuesday.
When the President of the United States has said, Article 2 says I can do whatever I want, that's a monarchy. That is not a republic.
This is a hoax. It's a shame. I did the biggest deal ever done in the history of our country, and that was the second story to a total hoax.
There was split-screen coverage that morning between the big China trade deal and the Pelosi unveiling the articles and naming the managers. So, Ben, the coverage of whether the Senate should call witnesses, Democrats say, let's call Lev Parnas, let's call John Bolton. And Republicans say, okay, then we'll call Joe and Hunter Biden. Does the coverage favor one side in your view?
Well, I think you can tell what isn't being said by looking at the way that impeachment was being framed this past week. There were a lot of pieces that I saw making the argument that impeachment isn't going to matter that much in November, that, oh, you know, this is something that's going to be done and then we're going to move on. What they're leaving out of that story is how badly botched this whole process has been, including this Pelosi delay, pushing up to the point where you're going to remove from the field of 2020 all of these key players, particularly Bernie Sanders, right before Iowa, which is critical for him. It really has been a botched process that I think everyone should be talking about, if not for the fact that there is this whole collection of people who put Nancy Pelosi on this pedestal as being this brilliant political operator. I think really this was a process that in timing and in the way that it played out was badly botched and could hurt Democrats significantly in 2020, but you're not hearing that.
Pelosi has gotten some rare criticism for her tactics. The Government Accountability Office, which is widely viewed as nonpartisan, said this week that President Trump broke the law in withholding Ukraine military aid as appropriated by Congress. That would ordinarily be a bombshell, but in this media environment, it kind of becomes just another data point.
It is their job to assess things like that, and then they make the assessment, and people who want to believe it say see, and people who don't want to believe it say ho hum. It is weird. We're in an amazing time.
Jillian, you turn on the TV and you see conservative pundits and President Trump and leading Republicans say this is a sham and a witch hunt and all of the denigrations. And Trump says this is a perfect call with Zelensky. And then you see liberal commentators and leading Democrats saying our democracy is at stake. He cannot be allowed to violate the Constitution. Somehow, even though the trial is about to start, the story is feeling old.
It's stale. It really is. I mean, everything we're going to hear at this trial over the coming 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it ends up being, we've heard now in probably about 5 different iterations. We heard it when it leaked out of the House Intelligence Committee when witnesses were testifying behind closed doors. We then read it again when the House Intelligence Committee released the testimony. We then saw it when it was broadcast live from the House floor. I mean, this is going to be the 4th or 5th iteration for most Americans. So
but do you think people pay attention to it in that way? You and I do. Does it seem as old and stale to somebody who's just tuning in because finally it's a real impeachment?
People have either seen it or read about it now over the course of the last year, and we're not going to, especially if we're not going to have witnesses, there is nothing really new to be learned here.
I think the American people are actually very smart when it comes to the way that they consume news, and I think that they have understood from the outset of this process and became more and more understanding as it went along that this was not going to result in some big surprise, that the president was not going to be removed at the end of the day, that really the only suspense is whether there's a bipartisan vote on each side or not, and that's not something that I think they're eager to tune into because they know the result of the game already.
But a lot of Republicans quickly on Capitol Hill are saying the president's right, and this is behind closed doors. The president's right. If we're not going to hear new witness testimony, we're not going to receive new evidence, why are we doing this trial? We know the vote tally. Just save the American public the expense and the time.
Well, but of course, even Mitch McConnell understands that he would receive a lot of criticism if they tried to, do this in 2 days and kind of laugh it off. But are the media, left and right, in framing this as kind of a partisan slugfest and making the arguments we've all heard, just what we've all heard the politicians, are they contributing to the notion that this is just more beltway politics?
Well, there's a commentariat, and sure, they're contributing to that. But people who are just doing straight reporting day in and day out, trying to understand documents, reading the 600-page filings, reading the emails, I mean, that's the record. That's the record of what happened. And if you're trying to understand whether the president was running a black bag operation in Ukraine, you have to understand this stuff. It's legit.
So maybe it's being done for history, but it does seem to me be more openly partisan than the Clinton or even the Nixon impeachment. And that is it for now. Ray Suarez, Jillian Turner, Ben Domage, great to see you all this Sunday.